British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond this weekend said that, with the situation with migrants in Europe, it's not sustainable and that Europe can't protect itself, preserve its standard of living and social infrastructure if it has to absorb millions of migrants from Africa. Does the Commission agree with this statement?
We are not in the habit of commenting every comment from every Minister or Prime Minister, but I think you know very well the Commission's position on what needs to be done to tackle the huge migratory pressures that we are facing. In May, we came forward with a European agenda on migration, aiming to tackle the issue from many different angles. This is not just about dealing with returns. This is also about dealing with third countries and readmission agreements. We also proposed for greater intra-EU solidarity. We've put up on the table a relocation system to help alleviate the burden on the frontline member states. Today we've announced the release of 2.4 billion in our funding to help member states deal with the migratory pressures. So the Commission is very much approaching this issue with eyes wide open, and we continue to work very closely with the member states to address this challenge as best we can. The follow-up?
Hi, it's Lachlan Carmichael from AFP. Is any of the funding going towards the situation in Calais? Are you helping alleviate the situation there with this new funding? It doesn't sound like it's part of it.
Earlier this year, we did receive a request for emergency funding from France, and we did disperse 4 million, almost 3.7 million in emergency funding to deal specifically with the situation in Calais. We haven't received a new request for emergency funding on this particular issue, but one of the national programs that has been approved, in fact, earlier this year, was the French national program, meaning that we are now able to disperse the funding for the French national programme. The UK has already received the first disbursement of their funding, and so both of these, this money goes to, amongst other things, also dealing with the situation in Calais. It's the national authorities, the interior ministers, that set out a national programme allocating the funds to a variety of different projects, and one of them, in both cases, is Calais.
Just a follow-up on migration.
Could you press that button?
Oh, yeah. It's not working.
No, it's good. When it's red, it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Follow-up on migration then. Vincent Cochetel from UNHCR hammered Austria for the intolerable, dangerous and inhumane condition in its main refugee camp near Vienna, which is holding twice as many people as it was meant for. Have you been in touch with the Austrians about the conditions there, and what have you told them?
We have been in touch with the Austrians. Notably, we received earlier, at the end of last month, a request for emergency assistance from Austria, submitted by the Federal Ministry of the Interior, to indeed help with the situation in and dealing with reception conditions in Austria. We have made a first examination of the application, and we've asked for further clarifications from Austria on exactly what the money would be used for and how much would be needed. Contacts with the Austrian authorities are ongoing at both political and technical level in this regard.
Is there any deadline to resolve the issue?
We have not set a specific deadline. No, we're trying to explore what's the best possible way to help Austria deal with this situation would be.
Sorry. Last question. Any other states within the EU where you're urging them to improve conditions, reception centres?
Yes, there are many. We are in constant dialogue with all of the member states on how to improve their asylum and reception conditions. We have minimum standards. It's called the Common European Asylum System, about the minimum standards that should be provided in detention and reception centres, and we continue to monitor it across the EU. Greece is perhaps one of the cases that we're placing a particular focus on, given the Dublin ruling and the fact that Dublin's transfers are still suspended to this member state because the conditions are not up to standard.
Sorry, Bulgaria, is that one of them in the past week or so?
In the past week or so, no, there's been no new developments as regards to Bulgaria. Okay. Please.
Nikola Miladinov from the Bulgarian National Radio. I have two questions concerning the allocations. First is technical. You haven't mentioned the AMIF funding for Bulgaria in the table in Annex here. Is it because it has been already approved? in the past? Is it just a technical omission? And the second question, could you be more specific about the so-called specific actions allocation? What kind of actions are these? For what purposes the money will be spent? Thank you.
So yeah, I'm just confirming that the reason that Bulgaria is not lifted, that the AMIF funding for Bulgaria is not in this table, is because that's not one of the national programs that we adopted today. That was a national program that was already approved back in March, so we had a press release at that time as well, so you'll find it under that table. When it comes to the content of the national programs, as I said, these are prepared and implemented by the member states themselves, so we take a look at them to determine whether we consider the allocation of money to be correct and to be looking at the right priorities, but it is not for us to give out the details of these programs, and so I would refer you to the national contact points, and I have a list of the national contact points that I'm happy to share with you so that you can get in contact with, in this case, the Bulgarian authorities. Okay, any other questions on this or any other topic? No? Okay. I wish you a nice afternoon. See you tomorrow.